This episode is brought to you in part by Sheffield Financial, specialized equipment financing for work, play, and everything in between. Visit sheffieldfinancial.com. And Hybrid Light, durable, environmentally friendly, and guaranteed for life. Visit hybridlight.com.
Hey folks, this week we'll be meeting again with local legend Jack Wells and Mississippi crappie guide Clay Blair. We also took a trip to the North Mississippi Fish Hatchery where we were given a tour of the facility and we learned a little more about the conservation efforts and fish raising methods and techniques that they use to supply Mississippi lakes with crappie, catfish, bluegill, and other popular species of fish. So sit tight and enjoy this educational installment of the Legends of the Outdoors TV.
5 a.m. can't come soon enough for folks like these. There's more than just a job to do, so they hit their knees. They sure take pride in everything they do. And there's no challenge that they won't work through. So they tirelessly keep going on. They work their fingers to the bone. They spend way too much time in the field and away from home. You can be sure they know what all this hard work is for. So now we honor you as legends, legends of the outdoors.
And there's the bait right over him, see?
Man, another nice one, Clay. Boy, that is. Another Mississippi slab right there. Caught with Mr. Clay Blair. Now, Clay, you run a guide service here on several of the Mississippi reservoirs, don't you?
I do. I actually work for JH Guide Service. You can check us out on Facebook. We post daily. It's JH Guide Service. John Harrison's the owner of the company. So,
okay.
Yep, we do quite a few trips a year.
And where are you based out of, actually?
John's based out of Grenada,
okay.
And I'm based out of Senatobia.
Okay, all right, great.
We fish all 4 lakes, Grenada, Arkabutla, Sardis, and Enid.
Folks, if you want to take a good trip in Mississippi on one of the big 4, you need to get a hold of JH Guide Service, Clay Blair and John Harrison. These guys know how to catch them. We hadn't been on the water but just a very few minutes. We've already put 2 in the boat. Come on, Jack, it's your turn.
I'm working it.
All right, great catch, man. That's a dandy, Jack. And a great Arkabutla slab. We've moved to a different section of the lake, and now we're fishing in some calmer water, and these fish are really turning on. Hey Clay, tell us a little bit about what we're doing right here, because you're using something very specific to catch these fish, and explain to the audience what you're doing.
We're using the Garmin Live Scope, and we're actually chasing these fish in open water. We're picking out the individual fish we want to catch, and we'll chase him down, and we're casting to them. And we're using the new 75 series B&M poles. These things are awesome. They have a sensitive tip, a strong backbone, so you can make a good hook set at 50 foot and actually bring it in. The bait we're using today is crappie magnet slab curly. These fish are chasing, so we can cast out, and as we're reeling back through, the fish actually chase the bait. But it's a really fun technique, but I will tell you it's difficult because the Garmin Live Scope has a 20-degree cone on the Live Scope, So you have to cast in that 20-degree cone to be able to see your bait go down. And then you have to keep the fish in the frame too. So it takes some getting used to. We're gonna get Mr. Jack up to date on it here before long.
Well, hey, I know we're in Mississippi, Jack, but I've kind of noticed there's a little UT orange on these new rods. Did you see that?
I don't know that I'd call it UT orange, but no, that's the gold. The gold represents the 50 years. I didn't realize this, but diamond white is the actual color for 75 years. So that's the reason for the white blank. So we've kind of got 75 years covered, 50 years covered, then of course the reel is silver for 25 years. So It's kind of a tribute.
Well, that's a beautiful setup, and y'all have already been catching a bunch of crappie on it. I understand that they're really sensitive. Y'all can see that lure going down on the live scope, and then you're feeling that fish hit, setting the hook. So let's go catch another one. We're gonna see if we can catch some more crappie here on Arkabutla. Y'all come on back after these messages.
Tired of pushing that old lawnmower? Don't go another season without the equipment you need to do the jobs that are important to you. At Sheffield Financial, we specialize in helping our customers get what they need. The easy application and fast approval process makes financing your outdoor power equipment easy. Don't go another season without the equipment you need. Check out SheffieldFinancial.com today.
Hey Abby, I want to tell you about a really neat contest that we're running on Legends of the Outdoors TV for our sponsor, Hybrid Lights. Anyone that's watching our show after episode 6 can go on hybridlight.com and say, I seen the light or I found the light. Every episode, we're going to have a hybrid light somewhere in that episode. And when you see it, you click on hybridlight.com and tell them that you've seen the light and where you've seen it at. And that will automatically put you in for a contest where one winner will win a great box full of Hybrid Light products.
Wow, everyone's lucky.
They are lucky, and I tell you what, this is some of the neat products. You can charge your phone with these.
Wow.
They charge, most of their products charged by solar or through plugging them into the wall through a USB port or just a straight plug. So hybridlights.com, click on it and find out all about the Legends of the Outdoors TV. I found the light.
This segment is brought to you in part by Jury Outdoors, helping hunters since 1989. Visit juryoutdoors.com. And Blue Bend Outdoors. For more information, visit facebook.com/bluebendoutdoors.
Hey folks, we're here at the North Mississippi Fish Hatchery. These folks raise huge crappie to go in lakes all around the state of Mississippi. We've been on the lake, Jack, for a couple of days now. We've been crappie fishing up at Arkabutla, but now we're down here close to Enid Lake. We're with Emily Jo, the curator of the hatchery, and of course Abby Jo's with us. We're gonna go see what this place is all about.
We're here at the North Mississippi Fish Hatchery. We are owned and operated by the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. There's actually 2 hatcheries that in the state of Mississippi that our department operates, and together we can raise between 1 to 2 million fish every single year. Basically, the biologists determine what's needed and where, and then we get what's called a stocking order in. Most of what we do, of course, are sport fish. That's crappie, largemouth bass, red ear, bluegill. Everything we raise goes back into public waters for public fishing. And so our spawning season is normally in the spring, that's March through June. So today we're not going to see a whole lot of the spawning process itself because that time's already passed, as you know. But we're still going to be able to see the hatchery, kind of give you an idea of how we raise this many fish. And the hatchery itself was put into operation in 2006, and the education center followed in 2009. And our main mission is to let people know what fisheries does for conservation efforts. Since we have them in a contained area, we have to provide, of course, a food source for them that they would normally get in the wild. Each one of these tanks holds almost 20,000 gallons of water each. And all of the water that we use here at the hatchery comes from Enid Lake and 2 ground wells. That's why they placed us here, water quality and quantity. For this many fish and what we do, we have to have a lot of water. So what we're about to do is take a look inside our hatchery. 36 holding tanks. All of these will hold brood fish during the springtime. And of course, we have 2 rows of McDonald hatching jars named for the company, not the restaurant. I'll go ahead and answer that question now. That hold the eggs during the spring when we're waiting for them to hatch. So what we do is we collect the eggs from the female and the sperm from the male, and we'll put them into a bowl and we'll stir them with a turkey feather. And we get this question a lot, why use the turkey feather? It's very soft on the eggs, it won't rupture the eggs. We'll add water to that mixture, and once those fertilized eggs are done, we'll place them into these hatching jars. And what it is, we can turn on these, fresh water will shoot into the jars providing oxygen. The eggs can tumble, they won't stick together, it will separate the dead eggs from the live. And as the eggs hatch out, they'll swim up and over into these containers. And these are the containers that will collect the fry, which are the newly hatched fish. And they're actually so small they can fit on the tip of your pencil. And we'll keep them in the house for a little while because when fish are born, they don't have mouths. So we're waiting for their mouth parts to form, so that way they can feed on natural items out in the ponds. So we'll keep them in-house, and then we'll transfer them from here to one of our 16-acre ponds. But each one of these tanks right here will hold a different species of fish. The brood fish will hold in-house. We can't keep the brood fish on site, we just don't have the space for it. So we actually go out, our hatchery workers will go out and collect the brood fish. They'll go electroshocking for it, and they'll bring those fish back into the house and spawn them from there. And of course, we get a good success rate, hatching success rate, because of course in here they don't have predators, there's no pollution, there's great water, we have terrific water, we have a giant filtration system, so no pathogens, no bacteria, no foreign eggs can get into the hatching jars. So all of this happens during the spring. March through June is our busiest time.
So here's my question, if you could control the water temperature and all that, why couldn't you spawn year-round?
Well, we go with Mother Nature. Out there, we can't control water temperatures or anything.
All right, so when you when they transition to there, it's got to be the correct season.
Out there, you know, when they're ready to spawn, when the water temps go up or down, well, that's when we go and collect and bring them in. So we do that every spring, and like I said, we have enough space that once we do this every spring, we let them grow all summer long. We can't harvest during the summertime when it's so hot. The heat would kill the fish. So we have to wait for the water temps to cool down. We can manipulate in here, but only so far. So that is what, and we do crappie. Water temps hit about 65 degrees, usually, you know, April, May, somewhere in there. You wouldn't believe how often we get that question. We also get the question, aren't the black crappie the males and the white crappie the females? Well, no. White crappie males will get darker during spawning season, and they're mistaken for black crappie. So that is a fishing myth.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a brand new product created by my friend Steve Mosley. Steve, BioProGreen was created by you. Tell us a little bit about what it does and why.
BioProGreen is made from a specialized group of products that helps enhance your food plot. It increases the protein, it increases the biomass, and it will help draw wildlife to your food plot.
BioProGreen will enhance your food plots and help bring wildlife to your properties. Man, we've got two of the most wonderful people here with us.
We really do.
Terry Peterson and his daughter Cheyenne. Of course, two of my favorite lights is the hat light that you're wearing and this mammoth light right here. Now there's something special about this light.
Well, everything is a lifetime guarantee and never replace a battery, never buy a battery again. And they're solar powered. It also has the USB ports that are in and out, so you can put power in with your cell phone charger, and also then it's a power bank to charge your cell phone. Use the best quality ingredients to get the best product out of it.
This segment is brought to you in part by Charlie Brewer Slider Company. For more information, visit sliderfishing.com. And One Fatal Mistake Outfitters. For more information, visit onefatalmistakeoutfitters.com.
There's our flathead, the only flathead we've got in the tank. I said if we put one in there, it had to be a small one because they're so aggressive, we wouldn't have any bluegill left. We also had a 15-pound bass, and she was gorgeous. But we had to take her out too, after she ate the snake, and ate the crawfish, and then ate the baby bass, and then started in on the brim. She was re-released as well. And what was funny, our biologists, they tried to throw a hook in there to cheat and get her out of there kind of quickly. The bass just swam right up to that hook and swam right around us. So we had to drain the entire 10,000-gallon aquarium. They had to get in there with nets and wrangle that bass out. So we have a pathetically small bass in there right now. And of course, two of our black crappie actually came out of Grenada Lake. And of course, we have sturgeon. Many people do not get to see the sturgeon. Sturgeon are actually protected in Mississippi. So when people come through, it's so funny. The kids will say, "What's the alligator fish?" Well, that's a sturgeon. So we're very fortunate that we're able to have this in here for people to actually see and ID. So we're going to take a look through our museum area, see some of our exhibits, the world record. So of course, here we are. We're located here at Enid Lake, but y'all have been up here at Arkabutla. These 4 lakes were, of course, created after the flood of 1927. They're, of course, for flood control, but they've turned into major recreation areas. And there are some people that come, they actually schedule their vacations just around springtime, crappie spawn, to come down here and crappie fish. But let's brag on B&M just a little bit. As actually part of one of our scavenger hunts for our 4th graders, they have to come through and find out how B&M got its name. And it's a lot of fun because the kids will come back and they're just like, they started making it from brooms and mops. So this has been a very popular exhibit for us, I will say that. And of course, the world record crappie, 5 pounds, 3 ounces, caught in 1957. Oldest fishing record in our state. Everyone wants to break the record, and records are made to be broken, so who knows? Of course, fishing equipment has changed through the years. We have an entire vintage collection that people have donated from their own private collections. We have all the vintage jigs, the hula poppers, the nippaditties, the Lucky 13s, rods and reels, motors. In fact, the Evinrude down there, well, Manutrol actually, this one, was a hand pump. And we always say that you have to use a lot of elbow grease for that one. Nobody wants to, but made in 1938. Gentleman actually bought it at a yard sale for $11, brought it to us. We tried to give it back to him to let him know it was, valuable. He bought it strictly to donate to the fishing museum. And these are actually some close-ups. These are how small crappie eggs are. And one female produces hundreds of thousands of eggs, or up to 100,000. They're so tiny. And I'll go ahead, let me quiz you now. How long do you think it takes for crappie eggs to hatch out?
How long?
How long?
3 days.
Not quite.
How far off am I?
24 hours and they're hatched.
I
Maybe
knew it was
48.
I knew it was quick.
Yes.
Once they're dropped, 24 hours, and then you
24 to
have the
48.
little fish with no mouth.
We tried to get some pictures of the crappie, which we did as they were developing, but they developed so quickly. It's not like walleye. A colder water fish takes longer, up to 2 weeks to hatch out. So the crappie, 24 hours hatched and gone. Like I said, maybe 48.
I knew it was a real short time period because I've been a professional guide on Kentucky Lake for 35 years.
Right.
And I have learned a lot about the migration routes of crappie on my lake because I'd start fishing for them in mid-March and follow their migration as they move into the spawning grounds. Well, the females will always, of course, be behind the males, and they stage up in staging areas. And then when the bucks get up in the bushes and start getting ready, the females will move up, and then the females are gone and you can't find them. They don't run the migration routes that they run as they staged up and fed up. They go right back out to the middle of the lake.
And it was interesting, like when we place bass mats in the tanks, because out in the wild, the male will make the nest and coax the female over,
right,
and then chase her off. Well, out here we have, they're almost like doormats that we place in there, and each male has his nest site, and then he'll chase the female off. But what we'll do is the hatchery staff will take that mat out and replace it. And so it's a whole new nest site.
Well, he don't know.
And so we take the eggs inside the hatchery because the male, as the eggs hatch out, will even eat his own young. Now, Abby Jo, you've been doing a lot of fishing, have you, for crappie?
No, I've not. This is my first week.
Okay, do you do any bass fishing? Let me ask you that.
I mostly hunt.
Well, we're going to let you catch a lunker. We just recently added all the interactives that you see through here. The kids are so connected this way, but disconnected. So we're using technology to connect them more with the outdoors.
Hey folks, I want to tell you about a brand new reel and gun oil created by my friend Jeff Milam called 80 Below. Jeff, tell me a little bit about the product.
80 Below is a product that's built to really withstand Mother Nature. Anything it throws at it, minus 80 degrees on the cold side and up to 465 high side. Really, if you like to hunt cold weather or fish in cold weather, it's an excellent product.
80 Below gun and reel oil. You got to have this if you hunt and fish.
Tired of pushing that old lawnmower? Don't go another season without the equipment you need to do the jobs that are important to you. At Sheffield Financial, we specialize in helping our customers get what they need. The easy application and fast approval process makes financing your outdoor power equipment easy. Don't go another season without the equipment you need. Check out SheffieldFinancial.com today.
This segment is brought to you in part by Case Knives, built with integrity for people of integrity. Visit caseknives.com. And War Eagle Boats, the nation's premier waterfowling boats. Visit wareagleboats.com.
Now we have 16 ponds, but they are 1 acre large each. And if you look over here, each one has a basin here at the kettle area. So the water will drain into this basin, and it takes almost a full day, if not longer, to do this, because we want to leave all of the waste and the dirt behind. We don't want that to collect in the basin with the fish because it would suffocate the fish. So as it collects, the goal is that only water and fish will collect in this basin here. I always say this is where the real legwork begins, because as the fish collect in this basin, then basically the guys will take dip nets, dip out the fingerlings, walk up those steps to a truck that's holding water, a tank that's supplied with oxygen, and dump the fish into that tank, and then they have to come back down the steps and do it all over again. So basically it's a line. They're going back and forth, collecting these fish as quickly as they can because they're in a small area, putting them into that tank, and then taking them to wherever they're needed. If it's, a lake, stream, river, we manage over 250,000 acres of waterway in Mississippi. So that's a lot of fish. So wherever they're needed, then that's where they're stocked. So this is just one pond. If you can imagine several ponds like this, and as the fish are ready and they get sent out, and everyone asks, well, if they're fingerling size, do they not have a, really good chance of surviving in the wild? Well, if you think about it, fingerlings have much better chance than small fry this big or even eggs out in the natural. So yes, it's well worth the effort. And we do this, and we don't keep them till they're bigger than that, just because of the space, the time. They're all fingerling size, 1 to 2 inches long, but sometimes we'll keep like the crappie 4 inches. We have worked on special projects in the hatchery, like paddlefish. We raised paddlefish before, worked with a federal hatchery in Tupelo. Partnering up with them, they spawned. We raised them till they were about 8 inches long because we had the space inside. So those are called advanced fingerlings when they're 8 to 12 inches long. So most of them out here though, 1 to 2 inches, we call them fingerlings, like I tell the kids, because they're as long as your finger. And that is what we do. So from the wild, we bring in the fish, the eggs. Once they hatch, come out here, the fry. And then when they grow fingerling size, they go right back out to the wild. So it's just that cycle right there.
Man, that fish grabbed it right while we was watching him.
Little small fish. He'll be big one day.
And where I'm from on Kentucky Lake, that fish would nearly make the 10-inch size limit. Here on Arkabutla and in a lot of the Mississippi lakes, they have to be 12 inches long for you to keep them. So these get to go back in the lake. We get to catch them another year when they grow up to be a little bigger fish.
But these actually eat really good, but you can't keep them.
But you can't keep them.
Yeah, the 10-inch fish to me,
how do you know they eat good?
Because years ago it used to be 10-inch. Yeah, they just changed the rule. I don't know, it's probably been 10 years ago to 12.
Yeah.
But it used to be 10 years ago, and they fry up so good.
Yeah, they do. I tell you what, I still like to have some that size every once in a while, just filleted whole with the rib cage and everything left on them, skin left on them.
Oh yeah.
Man, they're delicious
Definitely.
that way.
You're not kidding.
Well, folks, we're gonna wrap it up now. We're glad that you joined us here on Legends of the Outdoors TV for Jack Wells, Clay Blair. Hey, and I'm gonna tell you, if you ever wanna come to northern Mississippi, you gotta go with JH Guide Service. These guys are the best. They'll treat you right, and they'll put some fillets in the cooler for you that you can take home and fry up golden brown. And that's the way I like them best. We hope to see you on our next episode. Until then, God bless, be safe, and we'll see you soon.
This episode was brought to you in part by Sheffield Financial, specialized equipment financing for work, play, and everything in between. Visit sheffieldfinancial.com. And Hybrid Light, durable, environmentally friendly, and guaranteed for life. Visit hybridlight.com.